The city bus rumbled through the dark streets as Sophia Blake fought to keep her eyes open. It was past 11, and she'd been awake since 5 that morning. Her first week as an intern at Sterling and Associates had been overwhelming, exciting, and absolutely exhausting. The bus was nearly empty at this hour. Just a few tired night shift workers and Sophia, still in her professional clothes from the office. A pale blue blouse and gray slacks, her blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail that had started the day neat but now hung loose and disheveled. She'd stayed late finishing a presentation her supervisor needed for tomorrow's client meeting. As the newest and lowest-ranking intern, she got the assignments no one else wanted and the hours no one else would work. But Sophia was determined to prove herself, even if it meant taking the last bus home. Her head nodded forward, jerking her awake. She blinked hard, trying to focus. Just 10 more stops until her apartment. She could make it. The bus lurched around a corner, and Sophia's exhausted body swayed with the motion. Her head dipped again, and this time, it came to rest on something solid and warm. A shoulder. She was too tired to fully register what had happened. The shoulder was comfortable, steady, and her exhausted brain simply accepted it as a pillow. Within seconds, Sophia was deeply asleep. The man whose shoulder she'd claimed looked down in surprise. He'd been absorbed in emails on his phone, hadn't noticed her drifting toward him, and he felt the gentle weight of her head against him. Ethan Morrison's first instinct was to wake her. He was the CEO of Morrison Tech, one of the city's fastest-growing companies. He wasn't accustomed to strangers using him as furniture, but something made him pause. The young woman looked completely exhausted. Dark circles shadowed her closed eyes. Her clothes suggested she worked in an office, probably stayed late like he did. She was clearly running on empty. Ethan glanced around the bus. No one was paying attention. He could easily wake her, politely ask her to move. Instead, he found himself adjusting his position slightly to make his shoulder more comfortable for her. It was absurd. Ethan Morrison, who managed 1,000 employees and made decisions affecting millions in revenue, was now sitting perfectly still on a city bus so a stranger could sleep on his shoulder. But there was something peaceful about it. Anonymous. Nobody on this bus knew who he was. The sleeping woman certainly didn't. She'd simply found a comfortable spot and claimed it with the unself-conscious trust of someone too tired to overthink. Ethan went back to his phone with one hand, reading reports while being careful not to move the shoulder supporting her head. She slept deeply, her breathing slow and even, occasionally making small sounds that were almost like contentment. 7 stops passed. Ethan noticed they were approaching a residential neighborhood. The woman might live here. He should probably wake her before she missed her stop. But which stop? He didn't know where she was going. At the 8th stop. Sophia stirred slightly. Ethan felt her shift, saw her eyes flutter open with confusion. She blinked, oriented herself, and then realized with horror where her head was resting. Sophia jerked upright, her face flooding with mortification. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to fall asleep on you. I've been up since 5, and I was just so tired. But that's no excuse for invading your personal space." "It's okay," Ethan interrupted her panicked rambling. "You looked exhausted." "I didn't mind." Sophia's cheeks burned. "That's kind of you to say, but I'm completely embarrassed. I promise I'm not usually the person who falls asleep on strangers." "Rough week?" "Rough first week. I just started an internship at a consulting firm. They're working me pretty hard." Sophia managed a self-deprecating smile. "Apparently hard enough that I've lost all social awareness and use random people as pillows." Ethan smiled. "What firm?" "Sterling and Associates. Do you know it?" He did. Sterling was one of Morrison Tech's consulting partners. Small world. I've heard of them. Good reputation. Tough environment for interns, I imagine. That's an understatement. But I'm grateful for the opportunity. I just need to learn to manage on less sleep. Sophia glanced out the window. "Oh no, this is my stop. I almost missed it." She grabbed her bag and stood quickly. "Thank you for being so understanding. And sorry again for the impromptu nap. No apology needed. Get some rest tonight." Sophia hurried off the bus, still blushing, disappearing into the night. Ethan watched her go, surprised by the small disappointment he felt. He didn't even know her name. The next morning, Ethan had an early meeting with Sterling and associates to discuss a new project. He arrived at their offices and was shown to the conference room where his team and Sterling's consultants would present. And there, sitting at the far end of the table with a notepad and nervous expression, was the woman from the bus. Their eyes met across the room. Sophia's went wide with recognition and fresh horror. Ethan kept his expression neutral, but he felt an unexpected surge of interest. The meeting proceeded with the senior consultants presenting while Sophia took notes. She avoided looking at Ethan directly, clearly mortified. He found it endearing. During a break, Ethan approached her. "We meet again." Sophia looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her. "Mr. Morrison, I'm so sorry about last night. I had no idea who you were. If I'd known you were our client, would it have changed anything? Made your exhaustion less real? Made my shoulder less comfortable?" Despite her embarrassment, Sophia laughed. "No, I suppose not. But I would have been much more mortified in the moment. I'm glad you weren't then. You clearly needed the rest." Ethan paused. "How long have you been working these late hours?" "All week. I'm the junior intern, so I get the overflow work. Last night, I was formatting slides until 10:30. Formatting slides? That's not intern work. That's administrative work." Sophia shrugged. "It's what needs doing. I'm trying to prove I'm valuable." You prove value by doing work that challenges you and develops your skills, not by formatting slides until you fall asleep on buses. Something in his tone made Sophia look at him more carefully. "You sound like you're speaking from experience." "I am. I worked my way up from nothing. Worst jobs, longest hours, constant pressure to prove myself. I know what it's like to confuse exhaustion with dedication." The conversation was interrupted by the meeting resuming, but Ethan found himself watching Sophia throughout the rest of the presentation. She was smart, asking good questions when invited, taking detailed notes, but she also looked tired, running on determination rather than rest. After the meeting, Ethan spoke with the senior partner at Sterling. The young woman taking notes, Sophia Blake. "I'd like to request her for the project team." The partner looked surprised. "She's just an intern, very junior. I can assign you someone more experienced. I want her. She's got good instincts." I could see it in how she approached the discussion. What Ethan didn't say was that he wanted to ensure Sophia wasn't being used as free labor for administrative work. If she was on his project, he could make sure she got real experience. Over the next months, Sophia worked closely with the Morrison tech team. Ethan made sure she was given substantive work, not just formatting slides. She proved herself quickly, impressing everyone with her insights and creativity. They fell into an easy friendship. Coffee before meetings, discussions about strategy, occasional debates about business philosophy. Ethan found himself looking forward to days when Sophia would be at Morrison Tech offices. He was also falling in love with her, though he was careful not to show it. The power dynamic was too unequal. She was an intern working on his project. He wouldn't put her in that position. 6 months later, Sophia's internship ended with a job offer from Sterling. She accepted, moving into a full-time analyst role. At her celebration dinner, Ethan finally felt free to speak. "Remember the night we met?" he asked as they sat at the same bus stop where she'd gotten off that first night. "How could I forget? Most embarrassing moment of my life. It was the best commute I'd ever had. This exhausted, determined woman trusted me enough to fall asleep on my shoulder. I'd never felt so honored." Sophia looked at him with surprise. "Honored? You were working yourself to exhaustion trying to prove your worth. And in that vulnerable moment, you chose my shoulder as a safe place to rest. I've been in love with you since that night, Sophia. I just had to wait until the power dynamic was different to tell you." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "You've been in love with me for 6 months, and didn't say anything?" "I couldn't. Not while you were an intern on my project. But now, you're a full-time analyst. We're equals. So I'm asking, would you like to have dinner with me? As more than colleagues?" Sophia smiled. "I've been in love with you since you didn't wake me up that night. Since you let me sleep even though I was a complete stranger. Yes, I'd love to have dinner." Their relationship blossomed into something neither had expected. 2 years later, They married in a small ceremony. Ethan made sure Morrison Tech implemented better policies for interns and junior employees, ensuring no one had to work until exhaustion to prove their value. If this story warmed your heart, like, share, and subscribe for more tales of unexpected love. Comment about chance moments that led to meaningful connections.